On today's show, we shall focus on a man, who is at the center of everything, and yet Kenyans hardly know him. His name has come up so many times in Kenyan politics, and usually under very controversial circumstances. And yet most of us don't even know what he looks like. And don't get me wrong, I'm as guilty as everybody else in ignoring this very significant person of interest. Well, at least until I started digging around, and I was shocked. And I will even tell you how I was forced to pay much closer attention to this man. The chain of events that led to this. On Friday, George Kinoti's boys were very busy at, wait for this one, at the office of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Yep, at his Harambee Annex office, Harambee House Annex. The detectives are of course following up on investigations and gathering evidence on the Rashid Echesa case. Now, this was very low-key. Apparently they didn't want to attract attention to what they were doing, and for obvious reasons. This has never, ever happened before in our history. Yes, we've had vice presidents falling out with the presidents. Yes, we have had the president's deputy being hounded out of office. Yes, that has happened. But never before in our history have we had investigators in the office of the second most powerful man in the land looking for evidence. What? And I don't want anybody on this channel to miss this extremely significant development. Now, according to insiders, the next move in this process of gathering information in the Echesa case is to rope in other people involved. And the people we're talking about are close aides to Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. What? Now, I thought about it, and it dawned on me that this is very obvious. At least it should be. Just think about it for a minute. You do your deals bang inside the office of the Deputy President. How did you pull that one off? There must have been other people who were aware of what you're doing. I mean, you just don't walk into the office of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, and indeed with some zungus, and nobody knows what you're doing with these wazungus. And so, going back to where I started, it was at this point that I took note of the name right at the top of the list, of the aides of the DP to be looked into. And the name is Farouk Kibet. Now, super fascinating is the fact that those close to the Deputy President have complained and made noise about Farouk Kibet. Indeed, sometimes they've even complained about him at funerals. But the Deputy President has ignored them. And Bwana Farouk Kibet has remained at his side, powerful as ever. So, who is Farouk Kibet? Well, everybody knows, or at least most people know, that he is the chief gatekeeper of the Deputy President. There is no way you're going to see the Deputy President without passing through this man. There's no way, absolutely. The name of Farouk Kibet first burst into national limelight when the ICC chief prosecutor, Mrs. Fatwa Bensouda, accused him, named him as one of the people interfering with witnesses in the case against William Ruto. Yeah, I remember when he was facing some very serious charges at the International Criminal Court at The Hague. Now, to be fair and to be honest, Mrs. Bensouda was not very clear. She did not give us enough information. Although we know that Bwana Farouk Kibet is said to have burst into an Eldoret police station, which, for those of us who know Kenya police well, is not a very bright thing to do. And one cannot achieve very much making such a move. You know, by virtue of the profession of my late political lecturer, I've been brought up by cops. I used to be taken to school by cops, picked up from school by cops, etc., etc. People who know me well get amazed and surprised at how relaxed I am when we encounter cops, even when the situation looks very hairy for us. Lakini ni kwa sababu nimewazoea. And so believe me, when I tell you, the most likely response one would receive bursting into a cop station would be the following, or something like this. Wewe unatafuta nini hapa? Unatafuta mama yako? Anyway, it is clear that by the time the cases were at the ICC, post 2007-2008, Bwana Farouk Kibet was very close to William Samoei Ruto, which tells you that the relationship started much earlier. Now, we also know that the first encounter between William Samoei Ruto and Farouk Kibet was very, shall we say, hostile? Oh yes, because it was the time in the year 1997 when William Ruto made his first attempt to get into parliament. And indeed that first attempt was successful. Even though everybody had written him off, I mean, the guy was up against political giants in the Rift Valley. The incumbent at that time for the Eldoret North seat was a man called William Morogo Arap Saina. And those of you who understand Kenyan politics will know that it is very difficult to remove an incumbent, sitting MP, from their seat. But that was not all that Ruto was up against. There was also somebody else who was vying for that seat. A favorite, a close friend of President Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, a man called Reuben Chesire. Moi, who was then president, even came to Eldoret North to campaign for Reuben Chesire. But Ruto still prevailed. But back to our topic for today. This man called Farouk Kibet was on another side. He was supporting Saina for re-election. Now here's the very interesting side of this story. Supporting DP Ruto was Farouk's dad, Farouk Kibet's dad, the late Mzee Paul Taragat. Paul Kibet Taragat. Yani, the Mzee was aggressively campaigning for William Ruto, while his son was very, very aggressively campaigning for the incumbent. And so obviously something happened between 1997, so that by the time the year 2008 came along, Farouk Kibet was ready to risk bursting into a police station for William Ruto. Now, this Mzee passed on in November 2018. And at that time, William Ruto was deputy president. However, most of the major media houses in the country ignored that funeral. They didn't give it much coverage. And I don't blame them. Because the things that were spoken at that funeral are very relevant today. Super interesting today. But at the time, they would have hardly caused any excitement. Now, super fascinating is the fact that at that funeral, those close to the deputy president took the opportunity to fire barbs at Farouk Kibet. What? Now just imagine that. You have gone to bury your father, People come for the funeral and they spend most of the time talking about you and how bad you are and how tough you are, etc., etc. And you're there to mourn your dad. Oh, terrible. Oh boy, politicians in Kenya. People like Aden Duale, oh yes, majority leader. People like Kipchumba Murkomen bitterly complained about Farouk Kibet. Duale even called him a dictator while giving us some very interesting information. Duale said at the DP's office at 1:30 sharp, there's usually a very good lunch served to all those people waiting to see the deputy president. And Duale complained that if this man Farouk Kibet decides you're not eating, you won't eat. What? Duale and Murkomen also talked about a certain corridor. The corridor leading up to the office of the deputy president. And they said that Farouk Kibet doesn't have an office, but this corridor is his office. He's always loitering around there. And if he sees some people trying to see the DP, who have crossed all the other security checks, they've been okayed by the secretary or whatever, and they're just now about to see the deputy president. When they encounter Farouk Kibet in that long corridor, and Bwana Kibet decides, no, you're not seeing the DP, that's it. You'll have to go back. After coming all that way, eating the good lunch, spending hours waiting to see the DP, at the final stage, Kibet can tell you, I don't care who you are. You're not seeing him. And I'm assuming this also includes people like Duale and Murkomen. What? Because if it didn't include them, they wouldn't complain about the man at the funeral of his father. I find it super fascinating that Bwana Kibet's first name, Farouk, means a person who distinguishes between bad and good. The long and short of what I'm trying to say is that it should be pretty obvious that Farouk Kibet and DP William Ruto are very, very, very close. And this is why it becomes even more interesting when you note the fact that this name has come up so many times under controversial circumstances, in scandals. NOS scandal, Farouk Kibet was named. Jacob Juma assassination, the name of Farouk Kibet came up from the so-called assassin who confessed, or somebody was involved in that assassination who actually confessed. What? But I've deliberately left out the bombshell until the complete tail end of this video. And here is the bombshell. At the funeral of Farouk's dad in November 2018, one of the speakers at that funeral was one Rashid Echesa. Now, what Rashid Echesa said, wait for this one. Echesa said that the person who introduced him to politics was Farouk Kibet. Wah. Drama, bin drama, Arab drama, all a drama. What? What that means is that Bwana Farouk Kibet must be very close to Rashid Echesa. So close that he does not suffer the same fate as kina Bwana Duale and Bwana Murkomen. So much so that he's able to bring in some Zungus into the deputy president's office, conference room. Yeah. Folks, join the dots and then you'll clearly know what may be coming. Now, before I go, allow me 2 seconds to ask you a question that I will not answer. It is a simple question. Yeah. Indeed, an adult question. Yeah. However, it has got heavy, colossal political implications. And the question is this: how do you seduce the President of the Republic of Kenya? How do you do that? Yeah, if I can just translate it into Kiswahili so that we're all clear. Yeah. Unawezaje kutongoza rais wa nchi? The mind-boggling answer, yeah, is in my book, The President's Lovers. Here, details on your screen on how you can get it. You know, this is why in Western countries, powerful people, the relationships of powerful people, are very closely scrutinized. Because it should be obvious, such a relationship would have deep, far-reaching political implications. Let me just leave it at that. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.